Welcome everybody. We have a guest today, our dear friend Ali Bishar.
Thank you.
Probably also your professor in different other courses. So last time what we did, we talked about the cost of capital, and we ended the session or the class while computing or developing the formula of the formula for the cost of capital of two firms. So we had firm one, cost of capital of it, so we did some computation or to compute the cost of capital. Firm two, and then we said those two firms will merge. Those two firms will merge, and we developed the formula for the new cost of capital of those two companies. Okay? So that part wasn't in the slides, and the reason for which I said that it would be interesting to do a practice example on that part that we covered last time. So we have this is the first part of what we'll do today. Just a quick example, just to implement what we saw last time. And then, because next time will be your exam one, then we'll get a quick review to make sure that we are all on the same page in terms of understanding of the material, what will be covered or assessed, and then we'll take your questions if any. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. So we have two firms. So firm A, firm B, they merge. So this is what the framework we talked about last time. They both operate in one country, so here we simplify the US, and they are both in the automobile sector. And why in the same country and in the same industry? In order to use the same values for market return. So RM, because we'll be using the capital, so RM risk, the rate of market rate of return will be the same for both companies because they operate in the same country. And also the same sector, so you have the same risk loading factors. Also, when we will be talking about RF, the risk-free rate of return, and the CAPM, also because we are in the same country, then for both companies, RF, the risk-free rate of return will be the same. So it will be the T-bill, the treasury bill, so the US Treasury, 1%. So that's the reason for which we are talking about two companies in the same country and the same industry. Also, the corporate tax rate will be the same, 20%. So that's the first part. Then we'll talk about how capital structure is built, firm A, and how capital structure is built in firm B. So basically the right side of the balance sheet, or how firms finance their assets. Okay. So firm A's assets financed 20 million. So the assets are financed by 20 million bank loans, so that's first part of the liabilities. Then 100 million bonds. So the debt part, in the debt part you have 20 million and 100 million. Okay, with these conditions, so the 20 million bank loan is 5% interest over 4 years, and the bonds are 100 million. And they are issued at par. When bonds are issued at par, it means that the coupon rate is the yield to maturity. So you won't have to compute the yield to maturity. The YTM that we usually compute here, we don't need to compute it. First of all, it takes time to compute. And here it will be equal to that 8% coupon rate, which makes it faster. So that's the debt part. Then we have the equity part. Equity part, common stocks and preferred stocks. So the equity part is built into two parts, 10 million and 70 million. 10 million for preferred stocks and 70 million, okay? So if I take, if we take the balance sheet of that company, roughly, so we'll have firm A, balance sheet here, so we have assets. Assets are financed by debt and equity. We'll call it asset one because this is firm A. Or firm A, firm A. So A. These are assets, debt or liability, and equity. For the debt part, we have loans, and then we have bonds. Okay, and then here we have preferred stocks, and then common stocks, common. Okay. Now, what are the values? For the loan, we say 20 million. Then for the bonds, 100. So all of it for the debt side, 120. All that. Debt is 120. Then preferred stocks, we are saying that's 10 million. And then for common stocks, 70. So all of it, equity, all of it is 80. Okay? 80 million, 120 million, so all of it is 200. Okay? All this is 200 million. So assets, 200 million. We are talking book value, right? Book value. Okay? So if we start talking book value, it's all the way book value. If we start talking market value, then it's all the way market value. Okay? So that's for A. Then we go to firm B. Let's have it here. B. So what happens in firm B? So the assets of firm B are financed with 15 million bonds, 25 million preferred stocks, and 60 million common stocks. We don't have loans here. So in terms of bonds, we have 15. These are the bonds. So that's the debt part. All this is debt, 15. Then we said 25 preferred stocks. So P for preferred stocks or pref. And then common. So for preferred stocks, again, 25 million and then 60 million common stocks. So 25 and 70, yeah? And 60, sorry. 60. Okay? So all of it, for the equity side, 25 and 60, that's 85. With the 15 of debt, it gives you 100. Okay? So we have here 100. So that's the value of the assets, 100. Okay? So we have two companies basically. One with total assets 200 and the second with total assets 100. So basically one is the double of the size of the other. And then, so that's the balance sheet, so capital structure. Now, of course, we can understand that when we put them all together, we'll have a new balance sheet of the new entity, of course. The new balance sheet will be, of course, asset first one, asset second one, so all of them, 200 plus 100 is 300. Yeah? We sum up the assets. Same thing here for liability, so we have loans, bonds. So we have 120 in terms of debt here and 15 here. So it will be all of it here, 135. And the balance, of course, the 80 and the 85 will be 165. And of course, the summation gives you the 300. Now, the idea, now we know the capital structure, how it looks like. So this is the balance sheet. Then we'll move to computing the cost of equity of each, okay? And the cost of debt of each, then the overall cost of capital of each firm, and then we'll put everything all together, okay? We'll start by the first firm. So what happens in the first firm? We have, first of all, so we have the numbers written, so I'll just remove those here to get some space. So for the loan part, 5%. Okay, so first firm A, we have a loan, and it is at 5% for 4 years. So the cost for that part of the debt is 5%. Okay, so R for return, D for debt, but the first part of the debt, I will write it D1, is 5%. Then we have another type of debt, bonds, okay, long-term debt or longer-term debt. Bonds issued at par, 8% coupon, and we say it because they are issued. These bonds are issued at par. Coupon rate is the yield to maturity, so the cost of that part is 8% for the firm. So R, but D, debt, but the other type, bonds, other type of debt, 2, RD2, 8%. Okay? So these are the costs of the debt side for the first firm. Now, the preferred part and the common part. All this is the equity, so R return again. Equity, but equity for the preferred part of it. And then we'll talk about R equity, but the common part of it. Okay, so these are the two other parts. For preferred stocks, what do we have? We have these stocks, preferred stocks, are priced at $25 each. That's the price. And they pay $2 dividend each. So we have the price, I have the dividend. Okay, for preferred stocks, we use the perpetuity formula, level perpetuity formula. So dividend divided by the price, dividend divided by the price, so $2 divided by the price, $25. Quick calculation gives you 8% also. Okay, so that's 8%. The cost of equity, but the preferred part of the equity. Okay. Then the last part for firm A, we have common stocks. We'll use the capital because we are talking about beta, and we are saying the beta of that company or of the stock of that company is like Ford being the automobile company in the US. So we'll check it. We'll have the beta, then RM and RF are given. So RF, I will write the formula, RF plus beta, RM minus RF, so risk-free rate plus systematic risk multiplying market risk premium. RF, we say 1%. Beta, we'll check it out. We have the link for 4. And then RM minus RF. RM is 10%. The market yearly returns are around 10%, so 10% RM minus 1%. Now we need to check the beta. Okay? Beta of this firm is like Ford. So let's check what it looks like with Ford. So that's Ford Motor Company. Then beta. Okay, that's beta. Okay. See here, that's the beta. 167, beta higher than 1. So the risk of our firm A is higher than the risk of the market. So beta here, I'll write it in another color. 167. 167. Okay? Then we compute. So 10% minus 1%, that's 9%. 9% multiplying 167. Quick computing. 9% multiplying 167. That gives you 1503. And you add 1, so 1603. Okay? So 1603%. Okay? So these are all the ingredients we need in order to compute the cost of capital of firm A. Okay? So the cost of capital of firm A, we just have our formula. Let's begin. So the weighted average cost of capital for firm A is what? That's the weight of the first debt, D1, multiplying what? Multiplying the cost of it, so RD1, plus the weight of the second part of the debt, so the bonds, weight of the second part of the debt, D2, multiplying RD2 that we just computed, plus the weight of the preferred equity, EP, equity preferred, multiplying REP that we just computed, plus the weight of the equity, but the common part of the equity, then the cost of it are E common. Okay? So the weights we have them here. So 20, first part of the debt, 20, divided by total, 200. Okay? 20 divided by 200, multiplying the cost of the first debt, so the cost of the loans, 5%, multiplying 5%. Then we have the second part of the debt. What is the weight of it? So So we're talking about bonds. What's the weight of these bonds? So 100 millions over 200. Okay? So 100 over 200. So that's 50%. So 50% of the money comes from the bonds. And this will multiply the cost of that part of debt, so the cost of those bonds for the firm, so 8%. Multiplying 8%. That's the first part. So these are the loans, these are the bonds. Then we have the two parts of the equity, the weight of the preferred equity and the weight of the common equity. So preferred equity 10 million over 200, so 10 over 200. And then the common equity is 70 over 200. Then it multiplies what? It multiplies the cost of each. It multiplies the cost of each. We just computed the cost of each. So the cost of the preferred equity is 8%. And then the cost of the common equity 16.03%. And you just compute that number, use Excel very quickly to compute it. So the weights we said we have 20, so that's 0, 1. 20 over 200, that's 10%. The other one is 50%. Then we have 10 over 200, so that's 0.5%. And then 70 over, so 7 over 200, so 7 over 20. Of course, the summation needs to give 100%, which is the case. I will make it bigger here. Here we go. So that's the debt. So debt 1, we call it debt 1. Then debt 2. Then equity preferred. Then equity common. Okay? These are the weights, WI. Okay? And then the costs are I's. So the cost we said 5%. Then respectively, 5%, and then 8%, and then 8%, and then 16.03%. 16.03%. Okay? I'll put everybody in percentage. Okay? And then, of course, you sum up. So we are multiplying, and sum up. Okay? So multiply all these, this multiplying this for everybody, and then I sum up. Yeah? So that will give you the cost of capital for the first firm, 10.51. 10.51%. Okay? That's the WACC for A. Okay? First part. Now move to B. Firm B. So what happens for firm B? We'll do similar exercise. So RD1 for the second one, for B. R, so the cost of the debt. And here we have only one type of debt, so bonds. Bonds only. Okay? So the cost of it, bonds issued at par also 8%. So the cost of the bonds issued, sorry, B, we say B. 7. Bonds issued at 7%. Okay? So, and they are at par, so the yield to maturity is 7%. So the cost of debt for those bonds, basically 7%. Then we'll talk about the cost of equity for both preferred and common. So R, return on equity for the preferred stocks. Here we have the price of those preferred stocks, 400. And they pay 60 dividends. So that's the dividend growth model, dividend divided by price. So 60 divided by 400. So 6 divided by 40 gives what? 15? So that's 15%. 15%. So that's the cost of equity, the preferred part of the equity. Then the common stocks. Common stocks for the second firm. Again, they have same RM, same RF. They are